intended stream ended up being a horrible train wreck. So we're going to go ahead and try to salvage this. Things went very sideways. Let's see if I can adjust this a bit. All right, and so hopefully you all have a idea what I'm trying to get done here. So what I'm doing is putting in a steep bevel on what I just tooled. This is a Berry King steep beveler. Not sponsored. I wish I was though. This here was an error I made marking out the line where the camouflage is going to be, but the camouflage tool should cover up a good amount of it. If not, I'm going to have to figure something out to do with this. Might have to use the taller camouflage tool as opposed to my preferred camouflage tool. This one looks better, but I don't know if it will come out far enough. Might need to use this one. But let's get this bevel in there first. Sure get that properly seated. While I'm doing this, let's talk about hand position real quick. One's hand position on a mallet depends entirely on what it is that they're doing. Like, for instance, where my hand is on this mallet for putting in these bevels is very different from where it will be when I put in the camouflage, and it was certainly at a different position from when I was doing the basket weaving. And that's because of the force needed per strike. Come on, stay in that groove there. You just need a bunch of constant little taps for the bevel here. It's getting away from me a bit. And that's why I'm choking up. I'm more towards the head of the mallet when I'm doing this here. But when you need more power as opposed to control, you're not going to hold it here. You're going to hold it further down here so that you have the weight of your strike, the force from your strike, and then the weight of the head of the mallet to be doing most of the work. Did I miss a stamp? I think I might have missed one. Doesn't really need to be there. It'll go over a bit, so I'm only gonna It'd probably do with some of this action there. All right, that works. I leave out one over here, maybe. Line that up. This one there. Not really, but there we go. All right, let's go. Preferred camouflager. All right, so that's the stitch line. So I'm going to be camouflaging out from the stitch line, and that should work right there. So the camouflager covers up the ends of whatever it is that you're doing with your basket weave so that you don't have these halfway done things. It just ends naturally there. So let's just go on ahead, try to line this up with the end of the piece. You can kind of see where it'll curve right there where I'm going to cut out. So I'll just try to get that as much towards the top as we can. Make sure it's nice and lined up with the stitch line. Now, I know a lot of people, they do not like stitching or tooling up to the stitch line. I kind of do. I don't like that there's just a gap of space from the end of the tooling to where the stitching starts. However, y'all do you. I don't like having an just. It's just me personally. I feel like if I can fill that space up, I should. And there we go. End of the basket weaving done. Stitching will go in there nicely, no problem. For me, I'm fine with that. Anybody else who wants to have a bit more of a gap in between their tooling and their stitching, by all means do so. Literally nothing wrong with it. It's just not my particular preference, that's all. Line up these little sunbursts. Almost whacked myself. And we saved it. Now, truthfully, 2 might be sufficient, but damn it. I'm going with the 3 just to be on the safe side, although that third one kind of screwed me. Do I follow this curve or don't I? I think that I will. I think that I shall. wasn't really thinking about it so much along the bottom because these sides won't be tooled, but might as well have the camouflage everywhere the camouflage should be, right? I've never camouflaged this tool around a bend, so this should be interesting. Kind of makes me wish I had a smaller one of these now. But hey, it's working. I just realized that I went too deep with those. Want to keep a little space. Come on. I think if I wasn't trying to film, this would be in the proper spot. I already had 2 mishits on a live stream. It's ridiculous. It's very unprofessional on my part. There we go. Getting back into the swing. There we go. Why am I just hitting it improperly? Yeah. Must be the striking. The holding feels pretty solid. It's always that third one. What the hell? Well, I'm going to entitle this one, Please Don't Watch This Stream. Unrelated note, the neighborhood dogs are just traipsing through my yard. It's pretty cool. Honestly, it shows I live in a safe neighborhood. They belong to the neighbors. And there's 3 small, somewhat yappy dogs, although not annoyingly yappy. And 1 large lab or some sort of lab mix. He seems to be the ringleader. He's an older dog. He's kind of just everywhere. His owners have a gate, and the gate is closed, and that particular dog doesn't seem to care. He somehow figures out how to get out and convinces everybody in the neighborhood to just give him scratches and treats. Pretty cool dog. I'm gonna end this here. Yep. So this one went very terribly. Well, I take that back. It could have gone better. But got the centerpiece done in here. I've got the great state of Texas. I've got the camouflage. I'll stitch in here, no problem. Stitch around there, no problem. This could be far better. All right. So that should be the front. That will be the logo. Wondering if I should go. Yep. Gonna go logo with the Texas basket weaving again. All right, now for this one, I'm not going to hammer in the logo. One, I don't have a piece for a post, and two, this is actually too wide for hammer strikes. You know, the center would be somewhat defined, and then the back wouldn't. So this is going into the press. And so I don't need to adjust the press over and over again. I'm going to stack another another die on top of it. So that'll hit here, press in, easy day. Get it aligned. Uh, and once more. And this being already cased, the imprint should be pretty solid. It is okay, but I want more definition. That should be sufficient, but one more. And there we have it. Stamp there. And now to commence with the basket weaving again, but hopefully better. Let's move that. So I'm going to start here from the logo and then work outwards. You should be able to still see my reference line. Just trying to ensure that those pieces line up on it. There we go. Sorry about the noise. All right, so for the basket weaving, to ensure that your spacing is right, you want to move like so. So this bit of the corner here is going to fit into this lower one here, but you also want to make sure that it stays lined up on that reference line. And here and there, about here and there again. So I can kind of get away with just starting it right up here again. No big deal. It's in general on point. And here. Also, I'm very sorry about the noise. That is unintended. It's a it's an unfortunate byproduct of the process. That is pretty well lined up. Nothing too crazy. But I'm going to use this as my new reference line for going above and below. So things should remain pretty well lined up. And what I'm going to do around this one is I'm just going to use another camouflage tool, but a smaller one. So I'm going to have the basket weave go up to the stamp, but not quite into it. Then stamp around it for the camouflage. Just get rid of that one there. All right, I'm gonna have to adjust this so I can bring it closer to me. Sorry if I get my big head in the way. It's not intentional, I swear. Do, do, do. Bottom of Texas there. In case anyone is wondering, yes, I did make this significantly harder on myself by doing it this way. But this is the artistic choice I made for myself, so I'm going to stick with it. I'd like to think that the client will be pleased. Do, do, do. Also, Shout out to my nephew. His birthday was yesterday. Young man is 19. I cannot believe it. I mean, I understand how time works, but it's just a lot to take in. He's, he was a kid, and now he's a man. He's got he's doing a lot. Bold young man, doing good things. Has a lot that he believes in. I appreciate that. Again, I cannot apologize enough for the noise. I am sorry. It is an unfortunate byproduct of the process. Air, air. Well, that was dumb. That's better. All right. And now for the deep bevel and the camouflage. Come on. Come on. Do better. Damn it. Mm. That was about to go very sideways. Ugh. I am very upset with myself. This is the first time I've live stream the tooling, and it is going very poorly, very amateurish, if I'm completely honest. I'm very upset. I mean, I know, I guess technically I am an amateur, but still. I'm gonna cheat and switch over to the smaller camouflage tool along the edge here. I'm not gonna lie, I do like how it looks. Nice little sunburst effect. And it's surprisingly easy to keep it. Ah, keep it along the edge, probably because it's so small, but still. Biggest upside, quiet. Truthfully, yeah, this doesn't really need camouflaging around it. It's fine where it's at. Okay, so front side, back side. Um, yep, might as well cut it out now. Put this away. I know I'm gonna get ate up in the comments about the mistakes I made, but you know what? Can't complain about it. I earned it. Just remember, everybody, a sharp knife is a safe knife. I hate stropping this part. For those who are wondering, yes, it is weird, but this portion of the blade is actually very sharp. I normally only use it when I'm dragging, and I shouldn't be dragging for this, but since I was stropping, I decided to strop it all. All right, so let's go ahead and just get the easiest parts first. So that's the longer portions. Oh, whole cutting mat moved. I'm digging too deep. Hopefully, my big head is not getting in the way of the shots here. Also, if anybody is making any comments, I am not at a position where I can see. So please don't think that I am ignoring you. I am just unable to see your comment right now while I am trying to cut this. All right, got two people here. Hopefully, everybody who was tuned into the stream did not see that first part that I had because that thing was hot garbage. I deleted it. That thing hurt my soul. All right, so Here we go. Nice knife sheath. Got the great state of Texas on it. So gonna let this dry and then glue it and stitch it up tomorrow. Yeah. So there's that piece right there. Next up will be, where are those pieces that I just cut? Those knives are very expensive but worth it. Oh yeah, definitely. I love these things. They're a little bit weird. It looks like it's not very ergonomic, but it actually is. Get a lot of control with this here, and also the I think I said it before, but this bottom edge here is bladed, or edged rather. Whoa, almost got myself. This top edge here isn't on the back, but it is up there. So you can do a lot of close fine work here, or if you wanted to just use it as a draw gauge, or just on a long straight, and just set it down and then draw back, and it cuts just fine. I love it. Actually, it cuts more than just fine. It's great. All right, but this guy wanted his initials. Let me see if I have that craft aid here already. And while I do have some stamps for initials, they're actually a lot smaller than what I intended. So what I'm gonna do is go for the impression on this one. If I'm feeling real squirrely, I will knock out the, I'll do the whole, I'll do all the works. Do I need this? Actually, I don't, so to the trash. Bam. Hey, Beards Brothers. Um, so a couple of streams ago, you were one of the people who I said had won a wallet, and the other two hit me up with their addresses. I didn't get one from you, which is understandable. You likely already have a whole bunch of your own wallets. You don't really need another one. But if you just never got around to it, by all means, uh, shoot me your address on Instagram. If not, then I'll just pick some other random follower to slide them a wallet for a giveaway. Yep, and two passes with this should be fine. Shouldn't soak it through. Whoa. And of course it soaked through. Damn it. Be right back. All right. So often what I do is if I'm working with a piece where I don't think the leather will soak through all the way to the back, I don't bother throwing some throwing some adhesive or something like that on the back. But I overdid it with that second application. So you don't want your piece to stretch out when you're working on it as you're tooling. So adhesive. Tandy and a bunch of other places sell some of these this strip that you put on the back of it for way more money than the cost of shipping tape or packing tape. Just go with the packing tape, honestly. You can just use it as you see fit. You know, layer it up like so. So when you're done, just pull off the one that's on the bottom. The rest of them come off easy, nice and smooth, easy day. Make sure I can hit him off with his initials. Sierra Mike. Yep, those will fit no problem. All right. So before I went live with my GoPro, and I could see all of the chat on my phone, but now I only see chats as they pop up, and they only stick on the screen for a few seconds. So if you ask me a question and I'm just not getting back to you, just ask it again so that I see it pop up. Or if you have some questions, comments, concerns, recommendations, or requests, I'll entertain all of them. Mm. Mm. So, and the upside for the thinner leathers, unlike the ones for knife sheaths and thicker ones for holsters, is you don't need to wait nearly as long for the casing. You just bam, knock it out. 2-3 minutes instead of 5+. Easy day. So the thing to remember for all of this is first, put your damn knife away. I was about to put my forearm right where this blade was. There we go. Don't need this. Put it away. As I said earlier, a sharp knife is a safe knife. That is true, because you only need to use it so much. But a sharp knife unattended is a disaster waiting to happen. So this here is what I took to doing when I apply anything from these craft aid tools. I'll just use the back of a beveling tool or anything like that. Actually, let me use something a little bit wider. There we go. That way I'm not pressing into, nope. That is flat and hard to manipulate. So when you're using these things, it gets real easy to put the weight of your hand and your fingers elsewhere, and you can unintentionally get impressions from stuff you don't want to get impressions from. So I just hold things down with 1 or 2 fingers, and then with something relatively narrow, I'll put the impression down so I get something nice and crisp. All right. So there's the S. Ah, I lost the viewer. So there's the S there. And we're going for the M. We've got to make sure that you leave some seam allowance. Also make sure it's not crooked. There we go. This one's going to be a little harder because that M is really close to the end. Doo-doo-doo. So if you're going to do this, make sure that you don't press too hard because you could damage the thinner parts of this in between the other aspects or the other letters and whatnot of your craft aid. You can wear it out. And if it's something that gets used a lot, like for instance in the English language, E, S, I think L and M and R, they get used a whole lot. I think, what is it they use in Wheel of Fortune? RST, LME are the ones that they give you because they're used so much. So if you're going to use a craft aid for letters, understand the RST, LME are going to get used a lot more than everything else. And that impression is not nearly what I thought it was going to be. So there will absolutely be some cutting and tooling. I'm going to use the thinner 1/4 inch swivel knife. And also the textured bevel. Come on, focus. Lots of money in selling books to people who resell. You know what? You're not wrong. And I think if I just dedicated the time and the caffeine to a day of knocking out similar things, I'd be a lot better off financially. I have had a few orders, not for bulk things, but for batch orders for stuff like bachelor parties. You know what? Hold on one second. All right, I lied. It was more than 1 second. This one is mine. A buddy of mine gave me a flask that he had from being a part of the wedding party. And he was like, oh, hey, see if you can do something with this. And I was like, all right, sure. So I went and checked it out, measured it. And I thought, okay, yeah, I could leather wrap this. And, you know, you can wrap flasks with various different types of leather also. So ostrich or hell out here in Texas, snakeskin, something like that. But then I started doing impression and tooling. Now this I've had for years, so you know it's a little beat up. I need to hit it with some conditioner. I've done about 4 of these custom, with obviously with more tooling. People seem to like them, but when I show folks, they're interested in them, but very few people have pulled the trigger and said, "Oh, absolutely, I want one of those." So I keep them for display, so people understand what they can get. Folks are interested, but haven't had anybody pull the trigger on them in a while. I think one guy asked me for one in 2022 before I was leaving Japan. So I got him a flask with Guillaume, who's a character from Demon Slayer. He's one of the Hashira. Homeboy's always crying, but not like Zenitsu. Like he's just and he's praying a lot. He's a very spiritual character. All right. So I picked the thinner blade because this piece has a lot more of the swoops and the swirls and everything in there. I'll also end up using a smaller bezel. I'm sorry, bevel. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of watch content recently. I am something of a watch person. Maybe not quite a horologist, but I do love watches. And a bezel is a part of a watch. All right, if anybody is asking any questions, I can't see the screen right now, but I will absolutely get to it as soon as I am done if anybody has any questions or comments. And also, in case anybody has not seen the video, there's just some things I can't do with my right hand, which is weird because I'm right handed because of the injury that I had on my way out the Navy. I got hurt real bad, and there's only so much that I can do so far as dexterity, so that's why I'm constantly turning and moving instead of just completing the action, the motion. I just can't. I mean, I am grateful though. There are people who lost a whole lot more, so don't get me wrong. I'm happy to have what I have, but just in case somebody was saying, "Oh, yeah, you should do this or try this motion," I cannot. It's unfortunate. You know what the crazy part is? This is the only part of the project I can charge the customer because they did not at all ask for this extra stuff. This was just stuff that I was offering up to them because I messed up twice and was taking so long. Sorry for being so quiet. I just don't really know what to talk about while I'm in the middle of this. But hopefully, I like the music. It's Afro Latin lo-fi. I don't believe any of it's copyrighted. I don't recall seeing any copyright information on the channel that I got it all that I'm streaming right now. So I'd like to think that I won't get sued for playing it. Hopefully, I'm right. Let me see if I missed anything. Everyone's looking something to resell. I put business cards in people's cars. Oh, you know what? That is not a bad idea at all. Good looking out, Beards Brothers. I'll try that. Out here where I live, there's a ton of markets and whatnot. Sometimes they're flea markets, a lot of times they're farmers markets. There's a lot of them going on out here. Cold though it's been recently, although it's not Chicago cold. The area actually has pretty mild weather in the wintertime. So we get a lot of folks from up north they'll come down here to vacation in the winter, or they'll maintain homes or trailer homes in the area to come down to for the wintertime. So a lot of the winter markets are actually more active than in the summertime. And so I've been going to a lot of those. There's um, there's four a month inside of a 30-mile range. One place has three a month. Every other Saturday, and then in the last Friday of the month. And the place closest to me has one farmer's market once a month. So I have a lot of opportunities to get out amongst the people, so the folks who live here and the folks who are vacationing, and show them my stuff, generate some interest. Mm. So I have a really weird method for my tooling. I try to do as many things on a single plane as possible. So I'll try to do all of this stuff that's goes up and down, and then I'll do all the stuff that's up top, so that I can just do everything. So that, say something has to be can only be done this direction, then I'll try to do those first. But this thing has so many swoops and swirls that it's just easier for me to take it as I'm making the progress on the piece. But normally, especially if it's something geometric, I'll just do all of the vertical lines, then all of turn it, and then do all the horizontal ones, and so forth and so on. Like for instance, I'll do these two because that's the easiest for me to pull off in this current position. Hopefully, my big head is not in the way of the shot here. I've been trying to keep myself out of the shot as much as possible, but you know, sometimes things just have to happen a certain way. All right. if I missed any comments. Super something. All right, cool. There's that tool that I should never have put into the place that I put it. That sounded terrible. I mean, I put the tool in the drawer when it should have gone into the tool stand. Oh, there is a zoom function. That's what I'm talking about. I don't normally do this, but I'm about to re-wet it a bit because the area around the S was drier, but that's where I'm going to start. Pro tip, if you're going to re-wet the whole thing. Where? I used to have a heavy block that I would use to keep this from moving so much. Every time I do this, I keep telling myself, this is going to be terrible. And every time I start, I think, ugh, you're so trash at this. But then, as I keep going, I see that it's not bad. Not bad at all. In fact, it's so not bad that people pay me for it. So I'm just psyching myself out all the damn time. So if you see, I am avoiding some of these curves, but it's because those will require the most amount of movement of the piece. So really I'm getting as many of these straighter spots as I can that are in one direction before I have to turn the thing all the way around. That is horrible framing. It's a little better. Normally I'm more of a chatty Cathy. Sorry about that, but I'm a little zoned in right now. All right. S is done. Now for the M. Let's get a little bit more methodical here. Shoulder's killing me now. My hand is still tearing me up. I know just what the VA is gonna say though. Not service connected. I'm like, oh, you're doing this work here. That's what made your injury worse. Not your hand getting jacked up. You know what's funny? Truthfully, most of my interactions with the VA are pretty positive. I would venture that most folks' interactions with the VA, other than wait times, are positive. Or at the very least, they're not negative. Yet, other than having to wait a god awful amount of time for something straightforward, the area where I live at, if I really, really need something, if it's not an emergency, I can get it in I'd say an acceptable amount of waiting time. But then some things are ridiculous, like 6 to 8 weeks for an eye exam. I'd rather just spend $100 at Walmart. Oh God. If I hadn't said it already, the reason that I have the hammer attached to the piece is to keep it in place when I'm working. A nice counterweight is very useful. Maybe it's just a weight, not even a counterweight. And to the eventual owner of said wallet here, sorry for taking so long. It is 100% on me. I was trying to overdo it the first time and I messed up. And the second time, I messed up right before having to stitch it all, which sucks too, because usually stitching is just the final hurdle. Yeah, unless you're going to edge paint. And normally, because I'm not the biggest fan of edge paint, I'll just dye the edges and then slick them with Tokonol. Arm is killing me. But tripped on one of the final hurdles, so I had to start over again. And I decided to make the initials more stylized and simplify the design. Yep. So the hardest part is going to be adding in the the money clip because he wants a magnetic money clip, and I'm all for it, but it is an extra couple of pieces and some added material on the final piece. Still, it's gonna turn out pretty good or pretty well. Let me see if I missed any questions or comments here. Okay, cool. Well, I think, yeah, this is the home stretch for the most part. After this, I just gotta let everything dry before I put it all together. This went by surprisingly faster than I thought it would. Let's see a spot that I missed here. Or if I didn't miss it, it didn't come out as defined as it should be. Yep, definitely missed it. All right, so what we're gonna have is one, two, three pockets with this piece here on the back, like so, with the money clip that will fold into that, which, depending on how much work I get done tonight on these other pieces, uh, will determine how much of this I will be able to finish tomorrow. All right. So I got two folks here in the chat. Chat viewing. It won't just keep the chat up here. Let me see if I can change that. Nope. All right. Well, if anybody has any questions, comments, concerns, or just some requests, let me know. If not, I'm gonna change the title of the stream of the tooling to more prep and glue for sewing. I got a bunch of stuff that is ready to be put together. Can do away with these gloves here, thank goodness. And for the sake of keeping everything clear, so I'm going to be putting together the stuff that's in here. Bunch of different types of things, but a lot of them come from, a lot of it's going to be this here Horween Dearborn. This stuff feels super good. You just want to make a cloak out of it. Don't make a clock out of leather. That's just going to be weird. Although, now that I'm thinking about it, don't just make a bunch of these. Instead of having the accents with the exotic pieces, just make them out of all Dearborn because they'll still feel good. Two, three. I'll just do that with one piece spare. Well, two pieces spare, but it's all good. And the rest will be exotic pieces that'll get turned into stuff afterwards. All right. There we go. Consistency. That's the name of the game. Although I'm going to have to cut 4 of these. Got to double up because that is how you save the time. Easy day. Those put in there. Get that strap out of here. Bam. All right. Hopefully, the folks in the chat are listening in really solid. People who knew the type of work we put in, absolutely. It's all good though, because every now and then you get that weird sensation when you see somebody, what I refer to as out in the wild, where they are using something that you made and they don't know who you are. I've had that happen to me a few times where I see somebody with a piece that I made and it turns out it was a gift, so they didn't know the person that made it. And it was honestly it was really humbling, I guess, to see that people saw so much value in what I produced and they were just using it in just their regular everyday. It was a part of their routine to just use some stuff I made. It felt really good. I thought that I would feel proud, but really I just felt happy. I felt happy that what I was making was something that was useful. Yeah, I thought that I'd have that crazy proud feeling, but no, just felt happy. Felt happy that Uh, the effort that I put out was seen and utilized. I don't know. Maybe that's just that that innate male instinct to want to be useful to the group. But I don't know, man. It just felt good. Felt good to see the effort be uh, I don't know, used, appreciated. I can't really say for certain that somebody appreciated my stuff. I don't live inside their head, but it did feel good to know that something that I made was a part of someone's everyday. That felt nice. So that's the goal, to just be a part of someone's everyday. Utilize some of that slogan, some of that skill, passion, and quality. But yeah, that's what I'm shooting for. To be a part of someone's everyday. As much as I joke and I say, oh yeah, they're gonna say my name on the red carpet. Um, that would be great, but I really care more that some guy in the future tells his, gives whatever it is that he bought from me to his grandson. Like I wanted something like that. That's the goal. That's the real goal. Not the Oscars recognition and all this other stuff. It's the continuation on of what it is that I made. That's the goal. But real quick, I do have to say, just the impressions in this Dearborn, it hits so well because it's so soft. Like for instance, it's nice and clean and neat, and even though it's a small stamp, so the definition is about the same, even though this stamp is way smaller. If this was a harder leather, if this was regular old veg tan, it would just be really, it'd be a rough go getting all the detail in there. This Dearborn, it's a good one. And the weird part is, I haven't seen it for sale in a while. I can't imagine Horween would have done away with it, because near as I could tell, there was a big demand for it when it came out. But surprisingly, I haven't seen any listed anywhere. Not on Horween's Instagram, not on their website, not on the Tannery Row. Uh, Last time I saw some was on Maverick's website years ago. So I don't know. Maybe it's discontinued. Maybe I'm the only guy with some Dearborn left. I don't know. What do you think? Should I charge triple? The only I guess non-fun thing about the Dearborn is it's super flimsy. So beveling, that's a wash. Don't even bother with that. It's You're just gonna have to accept that edge, that cut of the edge there. It does burnish. It looks really good when it's burnished, but you're gonna have to be super light with it because it won't stay stiff. It'll move and bend and flex and whatnot. It's a pain in the ass. But again, the end result for it is top notch. All right, let's get this ready. Oh, that has to be an interior piece there. There we go. And that is how you salvage pieces. See this? This could never be on the outside. Absolutely not. This is where they clip onto it and set it on a rack for stretching during the tanning process. Still usable, but got to cover it up. So I figure these being Horween, I sell these for about 25 a piece. I'll definitely get my money's worth. I'm gonna machine stitch it though. It's pretty soft though. Machine stitching the soft stuff kind of sucks, but hey, it is what it is. How y'all been in the chat? Who's hanging around? I know Beards Brothers been here for a bit. Is there anybody else? I know we had two or three at one point. Appreciate the likes, by the way. Doo doo doo. I'm trying to build up the inventory because I got this farmer's market tomorrow. It's really weird. I never heard of a farmer's market on a Thursday. I mean, Friday, sure. Saturday, definitely. Thursday? What? Don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking it. I have an opportunity to get my stuff out in front of some new eyeballs. The way I see it, there's the 1% rule. 1% of the people who see your stuff will buy it. So the more eyeballs that see my stuff, more folks will see something that they deem worth their hard-earned dollars, which is saying something nowadays. Today's world, today's prices, today's inflation. I don't know about the economy, truthfully. You hear so much, you don't know what's true. I certainly don't. Is it growing? Is it steady? Is it shrinking? Are people just playing word games? So, like, the tech sector's booming and the tech sector makes a lot of money. So they say, oh, the economy's growing. Meanwhile, the tech sector doesn't employ a whole crap load of people. So they're like, oh, the economy's booming. But, meanwhile, a lot of people are still out of work. So whenever I come across people who are willing to spend their hard earned dollars on me, I just have nothing but appreciation. They don't have to. They could just go on freaking Timu or something or other and just get something quick and cheap and easy. I mean, sure, it ain't gonna last all that long, but you know what? A lot of folks ain't thinking about that. So when the people who go out their way to check my stuff out and who come out with their hard earned money for me, really appreciate it. It was a weird year last year because I was working and my work was 100% remote location. So like instead of working from home, I was working in away from home. It's like we were out and about. On location was wherever the railroad needed maintenance done. So it was a rough one. All the opportunities that I would have had for the farmers market was gone for half the year. So I basically made nothing. least not with the leather work. The wages were good though. The work environment was okay. The people I worked with were honestly the best part of it all. The company itself, eh. They also had some practices that I didn't think were going to lead to anything beneficial, especially not in the long run. So decided to depart. Now I'm going to be doing this and enrolling in school, which is weird. Going to be a student again, like a proper student for the first time in 2 decades. It's my greatest bit of anxiety that when I walk into a class, the students are going to think that I'm the professor. That's going to be weird. Funny, but weird. Oh, side note about this Dearborn, it has a lot of stretch to it. Doesn't matter in which direction. So be gentle with it. Yeah, don't get in the habit of pulling it a lot. Things could go very sideways for you. Just keep all that together that way. See, I had a much better glue spreader yesterday. And of course, I geographically mislocated it because that's what I do. And I know as soon as the stream is over, I'm going to find it because that's my luck. Let me see if I'm missing any chats. Thank you very much for the compliment. I appreciate it. Uh, that is the biggest upside to these cutting dies. It's the consistency. It's the is once your work is consistent, then the finer points can show through really well. Once your cuts are consistent, the finer points come through. And once I got these dies, it gave me the time to to focus on the construction to make it a lot better, since the cuts were always going to be nice and uniform. All right. And now to cheat. Remember this: if you have a jig of any sort, utilize it. Everything will always be aligned when you use the jig. Now, this isn't the cutting die. Obviously, it's designed to be for the cutting. However, because it's going to cut the same thing every time, everything's always the same shape. Everything's consistent. So, what you have is a jig. So these corners are where they should be. Now, with something so soft, it's more of a pain in the ass. However, it still works. Lined up there. A little weird there. Yep, that softness really does not help. I don't know if I can use this jig the same way or use this die as a jig like I did for the other pieces. That sucks. I really don't have to hand align this one, but I don't know if I have a choice. Might just have to be how it is. Oh man, no more. All right, we are rolling up on 120 minutes. We're getting close. So, once we hit 2 hours, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I appreciate all the time and attention. You could have been anywhere else, but you're here with me, and I appreciate that. Let's try this one more time. It's always good on one side, but not on the other. Well, lesson learned. Hand a line from now on. Lesson learned.